I consider myself someone who tends to believe that the idea of overrated and underrated as a concept is kind of stupid. I feel like it's mostly used as code for I don't like this player, or I don't like the fact people disagree with me. However, with that being said, I do think Bam Adebayo is the most underrated star in the NBA. I know he made the All-Star team this year, and rightfully so, and I know he gets recognized with all defense selections, but even with that, outside of a few NBA YouTubers and Heat fans, I don't really see people talk about Bam Adebayo the way he should be. Bam is a player that, in my opinion, is top 20 in the league. He's rapidly improving as a versatile 20-plus point per game scorer, good passer, and in my opinion, the best defensive player in basketball at just 25 years old. That's a combination that without a doubt deserves to be in top 20 in the league talks, if not outright just a top 20 player in the league. Bam Adebayo's offense is something that has been a real swing factor for him reaching legit All-NBA caliber basketball. His scoring production has improved each season of his career. On top of that, he has never shot below 50% from the field in his career, and he has had a true shooting percentage above the league average every season of his career. So he's showing legit promise as a scorer production-wise with his improvement, while also being relatively efficient compared to other players when you see them improve as scorers. I think that's really encouraging, especially for a player that has basically been on playoff teams his entire career, to see scoring production increases while also maintaining high levels of efficiency. For me, it starts with the fact that Bam has one of the better handles among big men in basketball, which expands what he's able to do on the court. His handle is good enough to legitimately self-create, and he's shown that this season. He uses his handle to be one of the better slashers in basketball. He's shooting 53.8% on 3.7 layup attempts per game. He's shooting 67.6% on 5.7 restricted area attempts per game. He's shooting 56.7% on 13.4 total paint area attempts per game. He's one of the strongest players in the league. He draws contact really well. On top of that, he's a great vertical athlete, elite lateral athlete, and has good quickness and speed for his size. And when you combine that with a more than functional handle, you get someone that's really hard to stop on offense attacking downhill and in transition. He's too big, physical, and strong for most players to handle, and he's too skilled for others to handle. It makes for a lethal combination that's already hard to stop, but he has been growing in other areas of offense as well. Bam has shown improvement as a shooter. He's always had positive indicators when it comes to shooting potential, good touch around the basket, a decent free throw shooter, and I actually think his form is pretty solid. Bam is shooting 39.1% on 1.9 mid-range attempts per game. He's shooting 46.9% on 4.9 attempts between 10 to 19 feet per game, and he's shooting 46.7% on 7.9 total jump shot attempts per game. Now, he doesn't shoot three-pointers, but I wouldn't say he's a bad shooter either. Neither would I say he's a great shooter, but I think he's a solid to good one. Now, he's willing to take mid-range shots and has definitely shown more confidence in it over the years. The positive indicators and improvement on tape make me confident Bam can eventually become a really consistent mid-range shooter that's a serious threat from that area consistently. I don't know if he'll ever be a three-point shooter, but I do think being a good mid-range shooter will be enough, which he's pretty close to already. Bam is also a really good passing playmaker as well. I think he's probably the best non-Jokic passing big in the league. He has good vision and accuracy on his passes. He has high passing feel. He makes the right reads more times than not, and having a big with this handle and passing skill is extremely valuable. The numbers may not reflect it all the time. He's at around 3 assists per game this season, but he does have a 5 assists per game season in his career, which does tell me he's capable of being a 5+ assists per game player if asked of him. Now, playing with Jimmy Butler means he doesn't have to be a high-end playmaker as far as production goes, but I think the best way to describe Bam as a passer is that he's really good in a connecting role. One of the better connectors in general as far as passing in my opinion. But he is someone that can handle more responsibility as a passer if asked of him. And that's really special considering, again, he is a 4-5 player. And there aren't many 4-5 players that are this level of passer outside of Jokic and really to an extent Robert Williams. Bam, of course, is not as good as Jokic as a passer, but Bam is a great passer in his own right as well. Offensively, Bam is nearly a complete player. He's a dominant paint finisher. He's a decent mid-range shooter that has shown nothing but positive signs of development in that area, and he's a really good passer. Outside of 3-point shooting, Bam has it all on offense. I know he's not the most aggressive offensive scorer in the world, but considering he plays with Jimmy Butler, I don't think it's a big deal. But I also wouldn't say he's afraid to score either. He's averaging 21 points per game this season. His scoring numbers have gone up each season with no noticeable drop-off in efficiency, and he just seems to be growing in confidence as a scorer every season. I'm not saying he will be this 25 plus point per game scorer that's a heliocentric hub, but I think Bam has proven he can be a legit second scoring option on a contending team. And also a player you can build around on offense because of his all-around skill set as an offensive player, both as a scorer and passer. However, despite all the great signs he shows on offense, defense is what truly makes Bam a special player. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a long time, you have heard me say this a lot already. That the concept of a 1-5 defender is not nearly as common as you would think, especially relative to how much that term seems to get thrown around. I think there are only a handful of players in the NBA that are legit 1-5 defenders and can switch between all 5 positions. With that being said, I do think Bam Adebayo is not only one of those players, I also think he's the best 1-5 defender in the league. He's the best defensive player in basketball in my opinion because of this. He has the strength to handle physical bigs, on top of a 7'1" wingspan that allows him to play taller than his listed 6'9" height. He has great lateral quickness to defend wings and guards on the perimeter. He's not someone I would stick on guards or wings full time, but he's someone that has shown legit lock-up potential on perimeter switches. He can play every defensive coverage at an elite level. He can drop, switch, and hedge all at a high level, because he has a rare combination of physical tools, athleticism, motor, and feel for the game. He defends well both on and off the ball. He's a good shot blocker. He plays passing lanes well. He has active hands. He quite literally does not have a flaw on defense. He can't get played off the floor in the playoffs, and that's extremely valuable. Guys who can't get played off the floor in the playoffs are really important. And when you're the best defensive player in the world, in my opinion, the ability to not have those flaws that keep you off the floor and you can't be exploited on defense is extremely valuable. And that combination of regular season and postseason defensive dominance is just special. I think Bam has an argument for being the most complete overall big in the league. I don't think he's better than Jokic or Embiid, obviously, because those guys are just on another level offensively. But I don't think there is a big in the league that is this complete on both ends of the floor like Bam is. On offense, he's a grown scorer that can give you 20 points per game a night off physicality, good touch around the basket, and a promising mid-range game. He has a handle that expands his game as a scorer and passer. He's a really good passer that's incredible in a connecting role and can handle more responsibility in spurts. And defensively, he has the tools and feel that are so good to the point where, at the very least, he has an argument for best defensive player in the league, and I believe he's flat out the best defensive player in the league. A guy that can give you 20 to 22 points per game, 10 plus rebounds per game, 3 to 5 plus assists per game, while also being the best defensive player in basketball, is someone that, at the very least, would be considered for top 20 players in the league. And to me, Bam is a top 20 player in the league and is probably closer to that 15 range than the 20 range. He's a versatile and skilled player on both ends of the floor. He has absurd physical and athletic gifts. He has a high feel for the game. And really, outside of the season, Bam has been an all-star level player on top 2 Eastern Conference teams in Miami. To have a strong argument for best defensive player in the league at 25 years old is special. And I think he can hold that title for a very long time, or at the very least be in that discussion for a very long time. If he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year in his career, it will be a travesty on the NBA's part. He's the highest level of what the definition of elite defense is in the modern NBA, and that's versatility. And I think Bam should also be All-NBA this season, whether that be second team or third team. He's been that good. And I think he should continue to make All-NBA teams in the future, especially if he continues to improve the way he has. And that's not out of the cards because he's only 25 years old.